Welcome to Real Talks, and today we are talking about the power of saying no. So, there was a time in my life when I had a friend who made me feel like I owed her all of me, my thoughts, my movements, my choices. And in the beginning, it didn't feel heavy, it felt close, like sisterhood. We were young, emotionally entangled, and used to overshare as a form of intimacy. But somewhere along the line, it shifted from closeness to control. She needed to know everything. And if I didn't offer it, I'd be met with silence, passive aggressive comments, or accusations of hiding things. I remember the moment she saw a small tattoo on my arm and said, "Oh, you didn't tell me about this." It hit me like a loaded question, like I had betrayed her by keeping a piece of myself to myself. And in that moment, I remember thinking, when did I sign over my autonomy? As I began growing emotionally, spiritually, I started setting boundaries, quiet ones at first. I kept more things to myself. I stopped explaining every choice. I began honoring my privacy. But instead of respecting that, she pushed harder. The guilt dripping grew. The projection got louder. The more I tried to create space, the more she tried to fill it. And the most painful part, I had already been through this with her before. Years earlier after school, she cut me off with no explanation, vanished. No closure, no goodbye. And even though I didn't say it at the time, it broke something in me. I told myself people change. So when she came back into my life around the age of 19, I welcomed her, hoping that we were older now. Maybe she had healed too. But looking back, I realize now I let her back in from wounds, not wisdom, because history is not the same as healing. And what followed was the same pattern, the same controlling energy, the same unraveling of my spirit. I found myself filtering who I was, making myself smaller so I didn't set her off, hiding good news, walking on eggshells, second guessing myself. It chipped away at me, quietly, consistently, until I was barely recognizable to myself. The final breaking point was at my dad's funeral. I was in grief. I was numb. She left with a message that made no sense, no clarity, no conversation, just confusion. But I've come to understand this. Sometimes the point of their exit isn't closure, it's control. They're not looking for healing, they're looking for reaction. And I won't give it because I've learned that silence can be louder than any response. When someone puts a full stop where you were offering space, don't turn it into a comma. Respect the ending. Move forward. Not bitter, but better. Some chapters close without explanation. That is the closure. And here's what that experience taught me. Saying no is not just about drawing a line. It's about choosing yourself in places you used to abandon yourself. It's about recognizing that love without respect is manipulation. That history is not a reason to tolerate harm. That people who truly care for you will not punish you for protecting your peace. For a long time, I thought boundaries would push people away. I thought they were cold, distant, unkind. But I now know boundaries are not cages, they're self respect. They're a promise I make to myself to never again sacrifice my softness, my sanity, or my spirit just to keep someone else comfortable. I don't owe anyone access, especially not at the cost of my well being. And you might be in a season right now where saying no feels terrifying. Maybe you're afraid of who you'll lose, how they'll react, or what they'll say about you when you finally put yourself first. But let me tell you this, your no is not rejection, it's redirection. It's teaching the world how to treat you. And it's okay if your no is quiet. Let's talk about why saying no can feel so heavy, especially for women, especially when we've been taught to equate love to self-sacrifice. Maybe you've been there too. You feel it in your body, a tightness in your chest when someone asks you for something that you don't have the capacity to give. And instead of saying no, you smile, you say yes, you swallow the discomfort and convince yourself it's not that deep. But it is that deep, because every time you abandon yourself to make someone else comfortable, you chip away at that part of you that's meant to feel safe, inside your own body, inside your own life. And I get it. Saying no is scary, not just because of what people might say, but because of what it might mean. Will they leave? Will they label you as difficult? Will they stop loving you? And when we start healing our relationship with abandonment and rejection, those fears aren't just mental, they live in our nervous system. That's why we fawn, we people please, we over-explain, overextend, and override our needs, because we've learned it's safer to keep the peace than to honor our truth. But here's what I need you to hear today. Saying no isn't selfish. Saying no isn't rude. Saying no isn't cold. Saying no is honest. Saying no is protective. Saying no is holy. It is your spirit drawing a line and saying, this is where I end and you begin. And the more you honor that line, the more clearly people will understand how to treat you, because you've shown them how to treat you. Let me ask you something. Where are you still saying yes when your whole body is whispering no? Who in your life has grown used to accessing parts of you that drain you? And what would it look like to reclaim that energy? It could be a friendship, a family dynamic, even a pattern in your romantic life where you're afraid to set boundaries because you don't want to seem too much or not enough. But here's the thing. The people who are meant to walk with you will honor your no just as much as they celebrate your yes. And anyone who punishes you for setting boundaries was benefiting from your lack of them. It's okay to be the one who breaks the pattern. It's okay to be the first in your lineage to say, I'm done betraying myself to belong. That's not rebellion, that's healing. This week, I invite you to notice where your energy is leaking. Where are you over-explaining? Where are you saying yes out of fear, not love? Take just one space, one, and practice saying no with compassion, not apology. Let it be quiet. Let it be clear. And then notice what it feels like to finally honor yourself. Practice saying no without apology. Doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be true. No, I'm not available for that. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm choosing peace. Start small. Practice in safe places. Build the muscle. Because every time you honor your boundaries, you teach your inner child that he or she is safe and that he or she is worthy of protection. And that is where the real power lives. And the affirmation I want to leave you with for this week is, my boundaries are sacred. Saying no is not unkind. It is a declaration of self-respect. My boundaries are sacred. Saying no is not unkind. It is a declaration of self-respect. Speak it loud, whisper it in the mirror, breathe it in. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope you got something from this message. And if you did, share it with someone that you feel might benefit from this. And be sure to join me for next week's episode. Rest is not a reward, it's essential. Until then, have an incredible week, and I shall see you soon.